This half hour, we'll spend a little time with the supervisor in Pennfield Township, Dave Morgan. Hi, Dave.
Hey, Richard. It's always an honor to be in your presence.
Well, wow. Thank you.
Yes.
It's very nice of you to be here today. Thank you very much. So we'll start in Pennfield, I suppose, where I guess you've been the poster child for road repairs.
Oh, well, Pennfield's been a leader in the area on fixing our roads. That goes back to the previous township supervisor, Rob Banke, who started that off, and then I continued on with that. And I'm happy to say we finally came to an end almost. A couple days ago, our last road was paved. We still have some restoration work to do, but it's great out in Pennfield now. We have fantastic roads. It's a great community and great people.
So when you do the project like that, you get to the finishing point, do they tell you, okay, so see you in 3 years or something, come back and patch holes, or they tell you what the life expectancy is for that?
Well, they tell us 10 years. Now, we want to be proactive now so we never get in that situation again.
Right.
So we're looking at maintenance maintenance programs to keep our roads where they're at now so they never return to the horrifying status they were in. So you have that, and then we're doing a lot of restoration work now on people's yards, and that'll continue into next year. But it's been a great project. We're happy it's coming to a close. Our residents are happy, and all going forward, we're looking for a great outcome.
Their suspensions will be in good order.
Oh yeah. I lost one strut.
Yeah,
so I wasn't left out. But those days are over.
Right. At least for now. So that's good. All right. And you've been focused too on the fire department.
Oh, our fire department's outstanding. It's they're heroes for one.
Right.
All the firefighters in the community, Battle Creek, Pennfield, Emmett, throughout the community, different municipalities, as well as the sheriff's department. But our fire department, we just upgraded our Jaws of Life, which was big for us. We have a hearse system that's the best on the market, and we've already unfortunately had to use it once, but our fire department's definitely in a position with first-class equipment. We've upgraded a little bit. We also just purchased an off-road vehicle so we can get to areas where we previously couldn't to provide assistance. So that's going to be a wonderful thing. And with mutual aid, the different municipalities do work together. The ATV or UTV, whichever way you want to call it, will provide help for all the communities in our, surrounding municipalities. So we're excited about that.
Boy, that Jaws of Life thing, if you're not familiar with what that is, when you're dealing with a wreck, sometimes doors don't open the way they were supposed to, and first responders have to tear a car apart to get somebody out. Not a situation you want to think about much, but boy, you got to be prepared for it. And so this piece of equipment helps tear the wreckage open.
Yeah, it's absolutely critical to have up-to-date, equipment. Cars are stronger now. Airbags, so they have to be careful not to hit an airbag while they're making a cut. And it's crucial to respond as quick as possible and provide assistance.
Well, I hadn't thought of that. So what you're saying is if there's a wreck and they're using the Jaws of Life to tear open the car, if there's an airbag that wasn't deployed, the process of tearing that open could deploy that.
Right. And that could be catastrophic.
And that's the opposite effect of its intent. Yeah.
Right. And they go through a lot of training, and our firefighters out in Pennfield go to Hammers, and they provide cars for us to practice on and train on, and they've been great in our community too.
Wow, that's incredible. So what does one of those Jaws of Life things run?
Well, ours was, I think, right around $28,000. But really, it's a small investment for what it provides.
Absolutely. When you look at the line item, there's another thing you got a budget for.
Oh, yeah. Yes, and it's a piece of equipment you need. I mean, that's something you can't shortchange the fire department on because the community is counting on you.
Right.
So we're happy with it. It's already been used. It worked perfectly, and we're happy.
Well, you really would like not to have to use it, but you got to have it. Veterans Day, of course, just around the corner. What plans do you have there? Well, Pennfield does a special day at a different time of the year, don't you?
Yeah, we do an Armed Forces Appreciation Day. It'll be next year. It'll be May 19th, 2018, and that's at our high school, or middle school, actually. And we honor all the veterans in Pennfield and surrounding areas. And we do something unique. We also honor each student, Pennfield student, that's entering into the military. And it's quite a ceremony. And you'll want to put that in your books and be there, because it's a great day for us in Pennfield.
May 19th. So mark that down on your calendars.
And one of the best titles other than Dad's by far the best title I have, but veteran. And I served in Desert Storm, and this Saturday's Veterans Day. And there'll be a ceremony out at the National Cemetery at 11 a.m. So.
Right, and we'll hear a little more about that. I think Colonel Walker will be here tomorrow to talk a little bit about that. So thank you for your service.
Well, thank you. And Colonel Walker's done so much for our community. He's unbelievable.
And he's always ready to go with the details and ready to help and make sure these events are staged well, and he takes care of that. So that's nice. So let's talk a little bit about where you hope to be next, and that is serving in the Michigan House of Representatives.
Well, I was caught surprised. Dr. Bizon, our state representative, announced that he'll be running for Mike Knopf's seat, our current senator. Right. Both of them have done outstanding jobs. Mike served our community for many years as a state representative and also in the Senate. And then Representative Dr. John Bizon has just done a fantastic job representing our entire community. And so I was approached by actually Democrats and Republicans when Dr. Bizon made his announcement and asked if I would consider running. At first I thought, I really love being in Pennfield. And then I went to Washington and talked to many of the elected officials there. I was there for 4 days, talked to Democrats and Republicans, and pretty much every one of them told me I should run, because it gives Pennfield a seat at the table in our community up at the state level.
Well, that's one way to look at it.
Well, yeah, absolutely. And you need to have a seat at the table, in order to get grants, get funding. Revenue sharing is a big deal. That's for all of our communities, Emmett Township, Pennfield, and Bedford. And that's being cut and shrunk. And, of course, then the taxpayers are asked to make that up. And, we need to be more conservative as far as our government goes, watch our spending, consistently reevaluate programs and where we're putting our money. And taxpayers are stressed out. Our families are stressed out in our community, and we need to do all we can to put them in a position to be successful.
And so after giving it some thought, you said, let's do it.
Yeah, let's do it. I think I thought about it, and I thought, do I really have anything to give that I think I could make a difference? And I think absolutely. I've been in both parties. Some people say that's terrible. I say it makes me the most bipartisan person in Calhoun County.
That's one way to look at it. That's right.
Yes, and I understand the issues that everybody's facing, and adversity is a big one. And adversity doesn't just affect the poor. It affects everybody. It doesn't target any one group, and we're all seeing it. And we need to do what we can. Instead of fighting each other, we need to do what's right and help each family get to a point that they can provide for their children. We all, I think just about everybody, our children come first. The negative politics that we're seeing now is certainly a distraction to our kids. And it's just not right. And we need to come together, forget the D's and the R's. Both parties have certain issues that they focus on. But locally, when you come to local politics, it's about the people. And we can't get caught up in what's happening in Washington. We need to do what's best for our community here and all the people that live here.
So I personally appreciate the notion of bipartisanship and compromise and all of that. There are some people listening when you said you've been a member of both parties who want to know which party you're a member of now.
Well, Republican.
Okay.
And, I can say on the local Republican side, I've been there 2 years, and I couldn't be more impressed with the people who are actually in the party, at the party level. They've been nothing but kind. Terrace Todd, I think, has been on your show. He also has made the switch, as well as some other people. But we focus on positive issues. Veterans issues are a big ordeal in the Republican Party. And I've never really, at the local level, heard a negative thing. we need to do this to get a vote. We need to do that to get them to vote for us. It's about what we can do to make it better for different groups. And
what do you think about this auto insurance reform thing that's going on right now? It's interesting because, we had an idea out there. It did not fly. And I think Dave Maturin, for example, issued a statement this week, an opinion about why he's decided to vote no on it. And apparently there were some things that some folks are not comfortable with. This has become one of the hot button issues right now.
Yeah, everything seems to be turned into a hot button issue. But I think the more we can give the people a choice. I don't like mandates. I don't like government coming in and say, you must do this. You have to do this. So I think if we give people more of an option, I like that idea.
Yeah.
So I probably would have been the opposite of Representative Maturin. I respect him, so it's nothing against him. Dr. Bizon was for reform. I would have sided that way. But yeah, the people, the more we can give the people a voice after the election, because when the election ends, that's not the end.
Right.
That's the beginning. And it's not your job to represent a special interest group or a party or anybody else. It's your job to represent the people you serve. And
so as you examine this notion of running for this post, and you zoom out your viewpoint a bit from Pennfield to the area and the state, what do you think some of the biggest issues we're facing are?
Well, we can't tax families into prosperity. That'll never happen. So taxes really put a burden on people, but, the money that they bring in does provide services. So there's a fine line. And that's where I say we need to keep reevaluating just about everything, because what was relevant 10 years ago isn't relevant today. So in some cases, so sometimes you need to make adjustments. I think that's where we fail in government a lot. We start a program and it never comes to an end. And then we want to start another program and it never comes to an end. And sooner than later, then families are losing their homes. They can't afford their taxes. They're struggling. We need to do what we can to help the families out.
One of the reasons that you have this opportunity is the notion of term limits, where a couple of terms and that's it. And I think it's commonly held that the idea behind it is understandable. We're trying not to make career politicians out of folks, but I think the downside of that has also been well documented, and that is we lose a lot of institutional memory when we turn over so often. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, we might. I'm for term limits, and I think we have a lot of great people in the community that couldn't serve as a state representative, as a school board member, or township supervisor. The key is, if I was lucky enough to be elected at the state level, you need to surround. Nobody's smart enough to know every issue. So the key is surround yourself with the people who are experts. So you're more of a manager, and you bring in the people who really know the issues well. Surround yourself with those types of people, and you'll do well.
All right. And, so we have lots of opportunities to talk more about all of these things as time goes on, but this is the first chance we've had to talk to you about it since you made your announcement. So we appreciate that opportunity, and I'm sure you'll be back again as we get closer. We've got a ways to go yet.
Probably
absolutely. Blink and it'll be here, though,
Oh, I know. There's so many issues, and I appreciate coming on if we have another second. If everybody, whether you're a Democrat, Republican, and independent, libertarian, education's such a huge issue, and we don't need to create barriers between the public sector and maybe the charter schools and whatnot. We need to come together, do what's right for the students. Approximately 82% of the people incarcerated in Michigan never finished high school. So we need to stop the arguing. Our slogan for the elections, let's stand together, and that's what we really need to do from all areas to do what's right for our community.
Well, you make an interesting point that if you don't have an education, you may not be able to be successful, and some have not, as you pointed out, as a result of that.
And there's many ways to get there, and so we need to focus on putting children in a position to be successful and the adults not getting in their way because of politics. So I'm 100% for education. Our teachers are heroes in the community. Sometimes I've heard them being attacked. They should never be attacked, nor should police and fire. These are the heroes of our community. They make a difference, and we have to remember the kids. And I spoke out at Pennfield High School 2 weeks ago. The kids are watching what we do and listening to what we say, and we have a responsibility, to be good examples for them.
All right, Dave Morgan, I'm sure we'll chat again soon.
All right, thank you, sir.
Thank you.